Remember when we showed you the support messages and posts from other colleges? Well, they all included this. I want you to take a look at the highlighted portions. They all included something about counseling support for their very own students and staff, even though the shooting didn't happen on their respective campuses. There is a kind of shared grief and anxiety. So with us today is Nannette Funderburk, a psychotherapist and founder of the Social and Emotional Learning Group. Nannette, it really struck me that all of the surrounding schools all offered counseling for their own students and staff when they weren't even there on campus when it happened.
Yes, I saw a quote that says, shared grief is half the sorrow. And so when we are able to connect and not have to bear the brunt of something so horrible all by ourselves, it helps us to get through it just a little bit easier.
All right, and so with that said, all of these colleges are obviously concerned that their students and faculty are going to be going through some things even though they weren't there.
Right. That of course it happens because we are connected by our identities. So I'm on a college campus right now, and I was just saying, some of these things about what would we do if something were to occur on this campus. We are connected because, there were other students there and we can see ourselves as students, or parents saw other kids there. So they saw, that could be my child. All the faculty members, connected to that unfortunate faculty member who lost his life. So that identity connects, and the identity is what allows each of us to see ourselves in other people.
Right, I know there's a lot of parents out there, some with kids at UNC Chapel Hill, some with kids other places, that the kids maybe say, hey, I want to come home. Or maybe they haven't heard from their kid and they want to reach out to their adult child and talk about that, but they're not kind of really sure about what to do.
Yeah, so for the parents of adult children, you have the main word there is still children, right? So especially if they're traditional college age, they're not. They don't have full grown brains yet. I know they may think they do, but they don't. And so even when you do have a full grown brain, this is hard to fathom and make sense of. So you need the support of people who love you just for who you are. You need to be, again, connected. You need to have that shared identity with someone who can share this grief and bear this burden with you, so that it's not just you. That's when it gets too heavy.
Right, what happens when you're the parent and you're like, I want my kid home, but you don't really
hmm
want to put that on your kid? How do we calm ourselves
hmm
down?
So you stay connected in the way that you can stay connected. So it might mean, asking the child to, if they want to come home. But if that's too much, then it might mean, having a phone conversation with that child, and also letting the child know, you know what, that scared me when I heard XYZ had occurred. And so I just wanted to check in with you because, remember, hey, I'm still mom, or hey, I'm still dad. And so, it helps them to hear that too, because they start to remember, okay, yeah, moms and dads are people too. They're not just these authority figures.
Right. All right. We just have a little bit over a minute. What about those parents who have much younger kids? There was a lot of kids on lockdown this time. This probably will not be the only time we see that this year. How do we as parents help our younger kids deal with that kind of anxiety?
You want to help them, just like you have them put their seatbelts on, or they get in their car seats in the car, or you have car insurance or health insurance when something may pop up. You want to prepare them, do some things ahead of time, so that if something happens, you have that insurance there. So you always want to be paying on your insurance, so to speak. So by that, I mean, you're talking about what happens if. This is what we're going to do if. And always point out, there were helpers around. There were people who were there to help. And so it can be really easy to pay attention to all of the terrible things that happened, but there were helpers around, and many people were able to connect to safety.
All right. And Nannette, for those kids who may be scared to go to school because they're hearing all of these things, and we're talking little kids, how do we as parents kind of set them up to be able to confident to do that?
You want to hear what that child has to say. So ask them some open-ended questions. So, hey son, hey daughter, tell me what you're thinking. Did you hear about the blah, blah, blah that happened yesterday. What went through your mind when you were thinking that? So the open-ended questions are those questions that cannot be answered with a yes or no, or just that single
Mm-hmm.
answer, because you want to hear what's in their head, and you want to hear, are they thinking something that's way left? And if so, how do I reel them back in? Let me start to talk to them a little bit more. But you want to hear what's in their head so that you can have more of that conversation with them to quell that anxiety.
Right. Don't think you know what they're thinking. Ask them what they're thinking. Thank you, Nannette. We so
Ask them what.
appreciate it. Thank you so
Yes.
much. All right.